Hello friends, thank you for clicking on this video. How are you all? I hope you are all doing well and happy. The case we are going to discuss today is a recent and shocking incident that occurred in the Riau Islands. A young woman named Risma Fatmawati, 18 years old, was found dead by her own mother in their rented house under very gruesome conditions. The incident was first discovered by the victim's mother, Nurida, 49 years old, who came to her daughter's rental house on Sunday, May 5, 2002, in the Duane Paya Tabak residential area, Tanjung Batu City, Kundur District, Karaman Regency, Riau Islands. Upon arriving at the rental house, Nurida was shocked to find her daughter lifeless on the bed with her neck stabbed by a toothbrush. In panic, Nurida immediately screamed for help. Around 9:30 a.m. local time, the North Kundur police received information from residents about the brutal murder. The police team quickly went to the crime scene, secured the victim's body, and conducted an investigation. The victim was immediately taken to the Tanjung Batu Kundur Regional Hospital for a post-mortem examination. Meanwhile, during the police investigation, several pieces of evidence were collected and several witnesses, including the victim's mother, were interviewed. Nurida told the police that her daughter lived with her husband, Iwan, 23 years old. However, strangely, Iwan was nowhere to be found at that time. The police's suspicion naturally narrowed down to Iwan, who was Risma's husband. Quickly, the police started pursuing Iwan, who had apparently fled. Several hours after Risma's body was found, the North Kundur police, together with the Karaman Regional Police, managed to apprehend Iwan, who was attempting to cross to Karaman. Iwan was arrested at the Tanjung Batu Port, North Kundur District. Iwan was temporarily disabled with a shot in his right leg as he resisted arrest, prompting the police to take measured action with the gunshot. After being apprehended, Iwan was immediately taken to the Karaman Regional Police for interrogation. Regarding the suspicion of murdering his wife, Iwan confessed to the police that he killed her using a toothbrush. Iwan admitted that his motive for committing such a heinous act was because of the grudge he had been harboring. According to Iwan's confession, he was upset and frequently argued with his wife and mother-in-law. Iwan claimed that Nurida, Risma's mother, and his mother-in-law always interfered in their marital affairs. Throughout their 4 years of marriage, he and Risma often quarreled. Iwan felt he was never respected by his wife. He stated that whenever he came home from work, Risma never cooked, and he always had to eat alone. Risma also refused to do the laundry, so Iwan had to do it himself. And whenever he asked Risma to cook or do household chores, she always resisted, saying she wasn't a maid in that house. Every time there was a domestic dispute, Iwan mentioned that Nurida, his mother-in-law, always interfered. What hurt Iwan the most was when Nurida told Risma to find another man. Additionally, Iwan admitted to being jealous, suspecting his wife of having an affair with another man. He claimed to have caught his wife having sexual intercourse with another man in a hotel and even at home. Iwan caught Risma making video calls with her lover. "I often saw her with another man in a hotel for the first time. Then the second time I saw her leaving with another man. And the third time, she made a video call. There were other videos too. That's when I won't forgive her anymore," said Iwan, expressing his pent-up anger in a wrong way, leading to his wife's demise in his own hands. Karaman Police Chief Ak Fadli Agus stated that the incident began when Risma was found in the room, lying on her back and with stab wounds on the left side of her neck. Before killing the perpetrator, Iwan had an argument with the victim. The perpetrator finally intended to take the victim's life around 8:00 p.m. local time on Saturday, May 4, 2002. Iwan also assaulted his wife by strangling her twice. Then Iwan took the toothbrush, which had been sharpened beforehand, and stabbed it into Risma's left neck until she passed away. Not only that, the victim's body also appeared to be covered in powder, presumably to remove fingerprints after committing the murder. The perpetrator immediately fled, and that night he stayed overnight on a resident's porch. The next morning, Iwan took public transportation to the Tanjung Batu port to flee to Karaman Island. However, Iwan's escape attempt failed when a joint team from the Karaman Regional Police arrested him as he got off the public transportation at Tanjung Batu port. On the other hand, the victim's family, Karel and Nurida, vehemently denied Iwan's allegations that their daughter had never served him. Nurida claimed that Risma was always with her in her daily life. She even knew her daughter's behavior and actions, as well as her son-in-law's. Nurida claims that in the rented house of her daughter and son-in-law, there's no kitchen or cooking utensils, so the victim always goes to her parents' house to cook. Then she brings the food home to serve to Iwan. According to Nurida, Iwan, her son-in-law, didn't know that Risma was the one cooking because he rarely came to their house. So Nurida refutes Iwan's accusation that Risma never cooked because, indeed, in their rented place, there is no kitchen and cooking equipment. Nurida also denies Iwan's claim of catching Risma with another man in a hotel. According to Nurida, Risma is always at home with her child. So Risma and Iwan have a son. Nurida says it's impossible for Risma to go to a hotel with her child because her child is always taken wherever she goes. So in daily life, a mother knows better, right? The allegations from the crowd are also incorrect, right?
So, you know more about your mother's daily life?
Yes, I know better. Honey, even with cooking, it's not right? After all, when she cooks, she exclaims that there is no kitchen in her house, no cooking utensils. If she cooks here, then she gives it to her man, to her husband, to her house. Because her husband rarely comes here. So if his wife has cooked, she gives it to her husband at his house. Bring an order?
The reason he doesn't cook at home is because there are no utensils in the house.
Nothing, sir. There are none. Or, she went to the hotel. That's a love lie. Because of what? He's rarely with me. If he's with me, he's out. Even if she's not with me, her child must come with her. It's impossible to go up to the hotel with her child, right? That's it.
Nurida also said that in the last few months, her daughter and son-in-law's household was indeed facing problems. They often quarreled, then returned again, so I just let them be. They quarreled for a month, then they returned again, said Nurida when met at her residence in Kundur. Since Monday, May 5, 2002, Nurida and her family did not expect that the dispute between her daughter and son-in-law would end in such a heinous murder. So whenever they quarreled or got angry, I said, you stay here first until it's calm, you come back later. We didn't expect it to become such a murder. They were ready to quarrel, always playing until 2:00. Both of them heard people outside. People were coming, said Nurida. As parents, Nurida only wants to advise her daughter and son-in-law not to continue quarreling because it's embarrassing to be heard by the neighbors. So it's not about wanting to interfere in their household. Even every time they quarreled, Risma always refused to tell her mother. So often, Nurida only knew from neighbors or heard the noise of her daughter and son-in-law's quarrel because their houses were quite close. Then when she asked Risma what the problem was, Risma always answered, it's just a small problem, a trivial problem, there's no serious problem. Nurida also said that once after Eid, Risma came to Nurida to complain about the domestic violence perpetrated by Iwan. But Nurida admitted she chose not to interfere because of their last household affair. After the Eid, she came to me, couldn't stand being beaten black and blue by Iwan, couldn't stand it anymore. I said, apologize, can't help you because of my household affairs. I said if you can't stand it, report it to the police as domestic violence. After that, I didn't say anything anymore, said Nurida. As we know, Risma's lifeless body was first found by her mother, Nurida. That morning, Nurida went to Iwan and Risma's rented house and saw Risma's frequently used sandals outside the house. At first, I thought she hadn't woken up because I saw her sandals outside. I knocked on her bedroom door, but no one answered. Then I checked from the back window of the room and saw her stiff. I immediately shouted for help. According to Nurida's confession, the victim was lying on her back on the bed, wearing a collared t-shirt and shorts. Amazing, guys. This case is still very fresh because it just happened a few days ago, so it's still under investigation. So let's wait for further information from the authorities about what punishment the perpetrator Iwan will receive. Meanwhile, although bitterness shrouds him until it ends in killing his wife, Iwan admits regretting because he has to part with his child. Regretting now being far from yesterday's child, still together now can't anymore, said Iwan. Okay, guys, that's the case of Risma and Iwan in Kariman, Riau Islands, which is currently very viral. So, what do you think about this criminal case? Please write any opinions you have, or maybe you want to request a case. Just write it in the comments below, guys. And that's the story for now. Thank you.